Hello and welcome to my film about lockdown in the Barbican. My name's Helen and I've been living here for about 19 years. Things have changed a lot over that time, but not as much as in the last few months. The Barbican is a housing estate built by the City of London on what was once a huge bomb site, and they began building it in 1965. I live in a strange kind of village of around 6,000 people when the 2,000 flats and houses are fully occupied. Like many other villages in Britain, the Barbican has its own grocery shop, hairdressers, police station, Indian restaurant, playgroup, church, laundrette and public gardens. The Barbican is popular to visitors from outside the estate because at its heart is the Barbican Centre, an arts venue with a concert hall, theatres and cinemas, some of them like the concrete architecture. There is also an art gallery, and the multi-level foyer is usually full of people sitting at tables, tapping on their laptops, using the free Wi-Fi. I really miss the library too. The thing that makes the Barbican really different to other housing estates in London, and I think the whole world, is a separate realm that is created by the podium that floats over the streets below. Usually these are really busy, full of people with cars and buses driving by. At the moment it is very quiet. You can hear the hum of fans and even birdsong. The podium makes the Barbican very special for me. It is a safe and quiet place with fields of flowers and lots of secret beautiful places. Some of these are open to everyone, some of them for the people who live here. There are many layers between the podium and the street which continue underground. These make visiting the Barbican very confusing for visitors, and in the past a yellow line on the ground helped them to navigate their way from the tube station to the arts centre. This drawing of the Barbican Centre is a section cut through the middle as if it were a big cake. It gives a good sense of the many levels that the estate has, and how any sense of a natural ground made of earth doesn't exist here. On the far right of the drawing, you can see a little car coming down a ramp towards an underground car park. Above it is a palm tree in the conservatory that hides the vast fly tower of the Barbican Theatre. On the other side of the fly tower, the conservatory continues, and below it you can make out the balconies of the auditorium. The layered foyer steps down on the left-hand side of the drawing. The podium itself has different levels, and these weave through the spaces between the buildings in the Barbican. This passageway cuts between the Arts Centre and the Guildhall School of Music, which is also on the estate. Turning the corner, the remnants of the yellow line that used to guide visitors around can be seen here, leading onwards to the bridge that connects the north side of the Barbican to the south, high above the public lakes and terraces. Looming up to the right is a huge golden double-faced mask representing comedy and tragedy. They guard ramps that lead into the Arts Centre, but the gates are locked shut. Coming up on the left is one of the entrances to Gilbert House, one of the 5-storey apartment blocks with a central corridor. The flats either look west with views over the Barbican Centre, or east over the lake towards the waterfall and Willoughby House. I live in one of the towers. This is the entrance at street level, which everyone uses. The striped yellow line on the floor marks a zone protecting the Cromwell Tower porters. This is Oliver Cromwell, who the tower is named after. Originally, the tower was supposed to be accessed from the podium, so we have 2 levels of entrance lobby. This one can only be used by the residents. The lobbies were restored by architects Witherford, Watson, Mann, and I like the exposed brickwork contrasted with the filmy curtains. Our flat has a galley kitchen, and there is a little pull-out table which is very useful. Some flats still have the original Garshi waste disposal system, which is why there are 2 sinks. The architects worked with a shipbuilder called Brook Marine to design the kitchens. There are 3 flats on every floor of the towers. Each flat extends the full length of one side of the tower's triangular volume. This is a clever shape that sometimes appears to be solid and heavy and at others paper thin, depending on the angle you view it from. Our front door leads into a triangular lobby. This dark and mysterious place has an atmosphere that visitors often find interesting. The flats are acoustically separated from each other by a fire escape stair. The strange object in the centre of the lobby often causes confusion, but it is simply where the lift button is. In the morning, when the postman is delivering mail and the cleaner is collecting the rubbish, you can wait a long time for the lift to arrive. This door leads to the incredibly tall and scary main fire escape stair. Long balconies stretching the full length of the flat lead to the fire escape stairs, and here you can see the window in the main staircase. At street level, Cromwell Tower has a forecourt extending from Beach Street. On the right is a restaurant boarded up for lockdown, and the cinemas next to it are closed. Ahead is the entrance to the tunnel with a podium above. On a normal day, the tunnel is full of cars and buses. Their absence is one of the positive things about lockdown. Walking around the corner into Golden Lane one Sunday morning, on the way to the swimming pool, I had a new encounter. This work by Banksy, naked and freshly painted, was made to celebrate Jean-Michel Basquiat. There was a show of his work at the Barbican at the time. So, although the art gallery is closed, there is still some art to see at the Barbican. Another of my favourite works is The Minotaur by Michael Ayrton. During my life at the Barbican, he has travelled around the estate's labyrinthine world, displaced by construction work and finally resting here. Many people who live in the Barbican like the rules that control life here. In addition to the laws of the land, there are bylaws that define how to behave on the podium. Since lockdown, additional unwritten rules have come into place which are open to interpretation and have changed how the podium is used. Cyclists on urban safaris often ignore the no cycling rule, while at the same time benches were removed from the communal gardens to prevent sunbathing, and all of the playgrounds have been taped up. That's it for my tour of Lockdown Barbican. I guess things will be changing again pretty soon, and hope to see you here sometime.